You know the song, right? Elvis Presley's 1969 hit, In the Ghetto. It's one of those tracks you've probably heard a million times. But what if I told you there's a whole lot more going on just beneath the surface? Today, we're going to dig deep into it.
It all boils down to lines like this one, and his mama cries. Just gut-wrenching, isn't it? It's an image that cuts right to the bone, right to the heart of human despair. But here's the thing we're going to explore. This song is so much more than just a tearjerker. It's not simply a sad story about one person's tragedy. No, when you really listen, when you look at how it's built, you realize it's a powerful and incredibly structured critique of an entire system.
So let's start by peeling back that first layer. We need to look at this thing as a piece of storytelling because, it's not just a song about poverty. It's a song where poverty itself is the main character, driving the whole plot forward.
I mean, think about it. The song maps out an entire human life in just 4 short verses. That's it. A child is born poor to a mother who already has too many mouths to feed. He grows up hungry and neglected on the streets. As a young man, he gets desperate, turns to crime, and then he's killed. It's like a set of dominoes, one event leading inevitably to the next. It feels like there's absolutely no escape. Now, there's actually a name for this technique. It's called narrative compression. The songwriter, a guy named Mac Davis, he didn't write a lecture or a political essay. Instead, he took this huge, sprawling, complex social issue and squeezed it down into one short punch-to-the-gut story. And that's the genius of it, right? It's what makes a big structural problem feel so deeply, deeply personal. Okay, so that's the story itself. But now let's go a level deeper and look at the song's structure, because this is where things get really, really clever. It's built in a way that reveals this story is actually designed to never, ever end. Okay, let's jump to the very end of the song. The final line Elvis sings is, "And another little baby's born in the ghetto." Wow, what a bleak, powerful way to end things.
But as you're hearing that last line, something should be nagging at you. Something should feel familiar. You should be thinking, hang on a second, where have I heard that before?
Right there, the very first line of the song. It kicks off with, "As the snow flies, a poor little baby child is born in the ghetto." The last line sends you right back to the first. It's not a straight line, it's a loop.
And this brilliant little trick is called a circular narrative. By coming back to its own starting point, the song completely transforms. Suddenly, it's not just the sad tale of one boy anymore. It becomes a commentary on a repeating pattern, an unbreakable social cycle. It shows how disadvantage is inherited, not through your genes, but through the environment you're born into. Of course, a song like this doesn't just appear out of thin air. To really get why it hits so hard, we have to pull the camera back and look at the world it was born into. We have to talk about America in 1969. Just look at what was going on. In 1968, Martin Luther King Jr. is tragically assassinated in Memphis. That very same year, Elvis, after years in Hollywood, stages his legendary comeback special and reminds the world he's a serious force. Then, bam, in early '69, he records this song. It landed at the exact intersection of profound social upheaval and a major turning point in his own career. And this context created a really fascinating tension. On the one hand, you can absolutely read it as a universal plea. The lyrics never mention race, the themes of poverty, of neglect, those are human issues. But on the other hand, in 1969 America, the word ghetto was not a neutral term. It was completely loaded. It was powerfully connected to urban Black poverty and segregation, especially in a nation still reeling from the civil rights struggle. And this is where Elvis himself becomes a crucial part of the story. His identity, a white Southern megastar, one of the most famous people on the planet, it acted as a kind of cultural bridge. He could deliver this socially conscious message to a massive mainstream audience, an audience that might have completely tuned out a more direct protest song. In a way, his fame both amplified the message and, you could argue, softened its political edges for that audience. So, okay, why does any of this matter now? Why are we still talking about a song that's over half a century old? Well, it's because that cycle the song describes, it hasn't stopped turning. This song from 1969 speaks directly and powerfully to the world we live in today.
This is what's so wild. Just watch how the song's simple, poetic language translates almost perfectly into the clinical language of modern social policy. A hungry boy with a runny nose? Today, we call that social determinants of health. Takes a gun and steals a car? That's a debate about community violence and upstream intervention. The repeating cycle itself, that's systemic inequality. The song was dramatizing concepts that are now central to our biggest conversations about justice.
So, at the end of the day, what is the song's enduring power? Well, first, it makes a huge abstract injustice feel intensely personal. Second, it frames violence not as a random act, but as an outcome of neglect. That forces us to think about prevention, not just punishment. I love how one source describes it as a threshold text, meaning it's easy to walk into, but once you're inside, you realize you're in a much bigger, more complex room than you ever expected. And that brings us to one final crucial question that the song just leaves hanging in the air. It does an absolutely masterful job of showing us the cycle of poverty and violence. But you know what it never does? It never tells us who's responsible for breaking it. Is it the individual? Is it the community? Is it our institutions? The song doesn't give us the answer. It just leaves us with the question. And that question is just as urgent today as it was in 1969.